We live in a world more connected than ever, yet some of the brightest minds feel utterly alone. If you've ever felt that no one truly understands you, that conversations rarely go beyond the surface, or that your thoughts isolate you from others instead of bringing you closer, this is for you. Because there's a strange paradox behind intelligence. The sharper the mind, the deeper the solitude. Highly intelligent people often crave depth in a world that rewards simplicity. They're not interested in small talk, gossip, or endless distractions. They want conversations that make their soul move, ideas that challenge, feelings that reveal something real. But most of the time, they're met with empty chatter and shallow interactions. So while others find belonging in simplicity, the deep thinker watches from a distance, caught between fascination and disconnection. It's not arrogance, it's hunger. A hunger for authenticity in a culture that celebrates noise over meaning. And then there's the mind itself. It never stops. While others can relax, intelligent people are trapped in constant analysis, dissecting every word, every gesture, every silence. They can't just experience, they have to understand. Every moment becomes a puzzle to solve, every relationship an equation of motives and emotions. It's exhausting, and that overthinking creates an invisible wall between them and the rest of the world, a sense that they re-observing life rather than living it. People often assume intelligence means cold logic, but in truth, many of the most intelligent people feel more deeply than anyone else. Their sensitivity runs beneath layers of reason. They notice every shift in energy, every unspoken tension, every contradiction in human behavior. Yet when they try to express that depth, it's often dismissed as too much or too intense. So they learn to hide it. They become masters at smiling, staying calm, appearing detached. But behind that composure, they're quietly starving for emotional resonance. Independence becomes their refuge. Intelligent people are often self-sufficient to a fault. They rely on their own company because it's easier than explaining themselves to others. Solitude feels safe until it doesn't. Because over time, what begins as a preference becomes a cage. They tell themselves they enjoy being alone, but deep down, they long to be understood, to share their inner world without needing to translate it. The tragedy is that they're often surrounded by people, yet still feel like no one is really with them. Another burden of intelligence is awareness. To be smart is to see the patterns others miss, to recognize hypocrisy, manipulation, contradiction, to understand how fragile human motives can be. But awareness comes with a cost. The more clearly you see the world, the harder it becomes to feel at home in it. You notice the artificial smiles, the empty ambition, the endless repetition of mistakes. You see beauty too, but even that beauty carries a kind of sadness because you understand how fleeting it is. Awareness expands your mind, but isolates your heart. Ignorance might be bliss, but knowledge is rarely peace. And because they understand how fragile emotions can be, intelligent people protect themselves behind logic. They analyze instead of feeling, observe instead of engaging. Vulnerability becomes a risk they can calculate but rarely take. They know exactly how much damage love can do, how rejection or misunderstanding can leave scars that last a lifetime. So they build walls out of intellect, humor, control. They appear composed, confident, even aloof. But behind the intellect is someone aching for connection, too afraid to show how much they care. But here is the truth. The loneliness of the highly intelligent isn't a life sentence. It's a call to unlearn the idea that understanding everything is the same as feeling everything. The cure isn't to lower your intelligence or hide your depth. It's to stop using them as armor. Real connection doesn't come from being understood intellectually. It comes from being felt emotionally. You don't need people who match your IQ. You need people who match your sincerity. People who make you laugh without effort, who make you forget to analyze, who remind you that being alive isn't a theory, it's an experience. You can't think your way out of loneliness. You can only feel your way through it. The people who belong in your life might not speak your intellectual language, but they'll understand your silences. They'll make you feel seen, not because they grasp every thought, but because they hold space for your truth. That's connection, not matching intelligence, but matching presence. So if you've ever felt too deep, too aware, too complicated, know this: you're not broken. You're just tuned to a different frequency. And yes, it can be lonely up there in the higher air, but the view is beautiful, and you're not as alone as you think. Somewhere out there are others who feel the same quiet ache, who crave the same depth, who think and feel and dream the way you do. In the end, the real strength of an intelligent mind is not how much it can analyze, but how much it dares to open, because the cure for loneliness isn't more intellect, it's more humanity.